excited about today's video. A couple months ago, Steve from the Lawn Gnome asked if I would like to be a part of May's 10 for 12, which is a series that he does on his channel. Every month he has a top 10 list, and May's happens to be top 10 franchise authors, or top 10 authors that have a popular series that they have written, and I said yes, and I'm really excited about doing this. And so me, along with Steve from the Lawn Gnome, and I think 8 or 9 other booktubers, YouTubers are a part of it. So down below there will be linked to all of the other participants' channels, so definitely go check out their lists. So without further ado, let's get into my top 10 favorite franchise authors. Now before I get into my official top 10 list, there are 2 honorary authors and series that I had to mention because they're always going to be on my list no matter what, and I couldn't not make this list and not mention them with them not actually officially being on the list, because they're going to automatically be top 1 and 2 no matter what I do. So those authors, J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter, my all-time favorite series, books, like nothing will beat this out. Nothing. And then J.R.R. Tolkien with the Lord of the Rings series. I absolutely love this story. So I had to mention those 2 authors even though they're not officially on my list. Now let's get into my official top 10 list. Now some of these authors aren't exactly like famous, popular in all of the book community and all of readers. Let's just dive into my list. Coming in at number 10 is May Cabot and the Princess Diaries. I've read the Princess Diaries and it's not my favorite of May Cabot's writing, but the Princess Diaries is definitely her most famous and most well-known series. Now, the series that is my particular favorite, she has an adult detective series. I don't know what the whole series is, but the first one is Size 12 is Not Fat, and it's just hilarious and amazing and fantastic. So I definitely love that series by May Cabot, but her Princess Diaries series is a lot more popular because of the movies, and the movies are much better. Coming in at number 9 is Jenny Han, and she has 2 series that I think are pretty well known. You have the Summer I Turned Pretty series, and the most recent series, which I think is even more well known, is the To All the Boys I've Loved Before series. And my favorite, I enjoy the Summer I Turned Pretty series, but I definitely do like the characters and the story in To All the Boys I've Loved Before series. I haven't read the last book, and so I can't say which one is my all-time favorite of the 3, but I definitely prefer the second book, which is P.S. I Still Love You. I think that the storyline and the character development is just so much better. The main character isn't so whiny and dramatic, so I definitely like the second book a lot more. So coming in at number 8 is Brandon Sanderson, and if you read fantasy, then you've heard of Brandon Sanderson, and his most, the way I heard about Brandon Sanderson was his Mistborn trilogy. This is technically the 4th book in that overall world, and this is my favorite of the books that I've read of his, which is The Alloy of Law. Coming in at number 7 is Marissa Meyer and her series, The Lunar Chronicles, which is Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Winter. And this is a series of 4 fairy tale retellings with a science fiction twist, and I really enjoy the entire series. My favorite book out of this series is most people's least favorite, and that is Scarlet, which is the second book in the series. And I think I really just like Scarlet as a character. She is my favorite character out of the entire series, and her storyline is the one that I actually really like, and I did enjoy the entire series, and it was a lot of fun, and it's one that I probably would reread again. Coming in at number 6 is Sophia Kinsella and her Confessions of a Shopaholic series. I have read, I think, 4 out of the however many books that are in this series, and even though I enjoy them, they're really easy reads and I just get a good laugh at Becky. Her Sophia Kinsella's standalone books are definitely more my forte, and my favorite book by Sophia Kinsella is Remember Me. It's a fantastic story. Definitely like Confessions of the Shopaholic, and I definitely think it was made most popular by the movie Confessions of the Shopaholic, which was cute, even if it didn't really follow the books. So I couldn't tell you which one I prefer. Probably the movie, because it didn't make me a nervous wreck. Because all the depth that she goes into makes me a nervous wreck. Coming in at number 5 is Kieran Cass's The Selection series, and that is The Selection, The Elite, which I don't have, and The One. I'm sorry, I do not count The Heir and the Crown as the part of the Selection series. I'm probably wrong, but I think that The Crown and The Heir are more of a spin-off series, and I really enjoyed these 3 books. They are just so fun and just so easy to read, and it's just one of those that I really do enjoy just picking up a book and just being engrossed in the storyline, even if I know it's not like the most insightful book that I will ever read. It's still enjoyable, and so I really enjoyed The Selection. My favorite out of this series is actually the one I don't have, and most people's least favorite, and that is The Elite. I feel like that one you have less characters to know, so there's less characters to keep up with, and you get a lot more character development, obviously, because you have less characters to know, and the plot gets moving forward, and you get a little bit of world building, which the biggest problem I had with these is there's not a whole lot of world building, which I would have liked to have. But overall, I really enjoyed this series, and I think it's been opted for a movie, if that's what I remember, so I'm really excited if it is, because that would be really awesome. Coming in at number 4 is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I think this is probably the most popular series that I'm going to be talking about. This is known by anyone, even if you are not a reader, because the movies were so huge. And I have to say that Suzanne Collins just set the post-apocalyptic dystopian genre on fire. And she, in my humble opinion, is the only one that has really done it fantastic. She's just the master at the dystopian genre. So out of this series, I would say Catching Fire is my favorite out of this series. So that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Fantastic series, fantastic series. And I have to say that they did a decent job on the movies. I wasn't too thrilled with the first 2 movies, but the Mockingjay, I like that they split it up into 2, because you actually get more of the story, and I liked it a lot more than the other 2. Coming in at number 3 is Claudia Gray's and her Firebird trilogy, 1,000 Pieces of You, 10,000 Skies Above You, and A Million Worlds With You. And I definitely have to say this is, it's not an obscure series, but it's definitely not one that people are talking about enough. It's an amazing series. I don't know why more people aren't talking about it and reading it, because it's just a fantastic series. I mean, it's about dimension hopping and the multiverse, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And my favorite out of this series would definitely have to be the first one, 1,000 Pieces of You. I think, one, it just introduced me to this world, and I just loved the worlds that we encounter in this story. The entire series is fantastic. So if you haven't read it, you really should, because it's amazing. And you should buy the books, because they're just works of art. I mean, guys, these covers, it's amazing. Amazing. Coming in at number 2 is Sebastian de Castell and the Great Coat series, and I think this is a series that is getting a lot more steam and people reading it. I definitely love this series. I think more people need to be reading it. It's fantastic. So you have The Traitor's Blade, Night's Shadow, and then Saint's Blood, and then the one that just came out in the UK. I don't think it's come out in the US, and that is Tyrant's something. Yes, so it's an amazing series. I have to say, of the 2 that I've read so far, I've started Saint's Blood, but I haven't gotten very far into it. So out of these 2, this one was fantastic. I have never cried so hard and so much in a book before. Probably like the last 200 pages, I was weeping, like ugly cry. If you have not started this and you love epic fantasy, definitely pick it up. If you like the Lord of the Rings series, you will love this series. It's so good. It is a little brutal, so definitely you need to be 18 years or older. It's It's definitely a lot more graphic than I'm used to reading, but it's still fantastic and amazing. 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 And it needs to be talked about a lot more than it is, because it's fantastic. And it needs to be turned into a movie or TV show. I mean, forget about Game of Thrones. Give me some Greatcoat TV show. Oh no, I hit my cover. And coming in at number 1 is probably my most obscure author. If you don't read historical fiction or Christian fiction, you may have heard of her, but don't really know about her books. And that is Tamara Alexander. And my favorite series, she has 4 series that are out right now. And she has 2 that are set in Colorado and 2 that are set in Nashville. The 2 that are set in Nashville are specifically historical fiction, and they're fantastic. And these are set in the mid-1800s, and they are set in Colorado. And this is my favorite series that she has out, mainly because of the characters. So we have From a Distance, Beyond This Moment, and Within My Heart. And I just love all these characters. I love their stories. They're just fantastic. And I have to say that if you like good contemporary, good historical fiction, books that are set in the 1800s, in the turn of our world becoming what our world is, and Oregon Trail type things, you definitely should pick up Tamara Alexander. Yes, she's a Christian author, but her Christian aspect is never in your face. It's really just part of the person's personality, and it's not really a huge driving force of the story. The characters and the things that they deal with definitely drive the story. So, okay, so that ends my top 10 of my favorite franchise authors. Let me know down below if you read any of these authors, and don't forget to go and check out the other participants' channels, which I'm going to do. I'm very excited about watching their videos. So guys, I hope you're having a great reading month, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye! Goodness, now I have to go put all my books back on the shelf. And you never know how dusty your shelf is until you take books out. I should probably dust.